Here.
Mrs. Newman? Here. Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Here. All members are here. As we get started, I'd like to welcome guests. It's so nice to see folks with us tonight. It's good to see you, Mr. and Mrs. Burks, Coach Swift, Doug. If we can stand and pledge and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. All right, we can go to item 1.2, and if someone can please pass a motion to approve the agenda for the May 10th, 2023 work session.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept item 1.2, which is the approval of the agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Board, is there any discussion about tonight's agenda?
I do want to. I want to add Doug to the agenda. PMC just to discuss on the recommissioning of the elementary school and the boiler specialist one heat exchanger. Those are the two items.
So do you want to add him to as a separate section, or do you want to have him speak on? We have to vote on those.
Yeah,
right?
but he'll just speak on it. I wanted him to come up first if he could.
Okay, so we'll add him to 1.6. It'll be 1.6. So I need to ask for the motion to be rescinded, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we rescind item 1.2, the approval of the agenda.
Thank you. May I have a second?
A second.
All righty. So if I can now, excuse me, have the motion placed to approve the agenda for tonight with the addition of item 1.6, adding Doug Myers of PMC to the agenda to provide us with updates relative to, is it the elementary?
To the elementary school.
The preschool.
No, the
Elementary school. Okay.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve. We accept item 1.2, the approval of the agenda. Adding item 1.6 to it, which is going to be an update from PMC about the Warrensville Heights Elementary School.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second it.
All righty. Dr. Rock.
Mrs. Freeman?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Newman?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. You sure?
Yeah, I'm a little off. I'm okay.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to apologize. I'm not sure what happened. Our agenda is out of order. So we're going to go to item 1.4, presentation on from the athletic department. Coach Swift.
Oh, he needs to hold 1 second. I think especially he had a guest coming. Our new basketball coach. He hasn't made it yet. Oh yeah, come on. Let's go. Yeah, let's go.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
evening.
Good to see everyone.
Good to see you too.
So first, thank you. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks for letting me present tonight. As far as what happens in Warrensville athletics. So John, I would just.
He's coming now. I see him.
He's coming.
Yeah, he's walking.
Okay.
Here he is.
So first, I am Brian Swift, the athletic director here in the district. And before I get started with my presentation, last meeting, we had the pleasure of you guys approving the new basketball coach here in Warrensville Heights. So he was able to attend this meeting. So I wanted to introduce the board to our new head boys basketball coach, Mr. Demetrius Johnson, a 2003 graduate of Warrensville, somebody I consider my brother. So I wanted to put a face to the name, so you guys can see him and meet him, and just introduce him to our school board. So this is Demetrius Johnson. I'm not sure if you guys had any questions for him, or you just wanted to ask, or just I just want to.
It's good to have an alumni come home and do what you used to do on the court.
I have a question for Mr. Johnson. How long until we win state?
Hopefully this year.
Good answer.
Excellent answer.
But I want to thank you guys for welcoming me back home. I'm excited about the journey to start with the kids. I look forward just to building up a young man on and off the court, focusing mainly on the academics. I feel like off the court stuff to take care of on court. So I'm gonna do my best with the boys, with just the community. Period. I want to bring the community back to how it was when I went here. And like I said, it's going to be it's an exciting time for me. I don't want to be anywhere else but home. So again, I really from the bottom of my heart thank you guys for welcoming me back home.
So have you
Alright.
coached previously?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I spent the last couple of 13 years at Garfield High School.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I want to just say welcome back, Meech.
Welcome back.
Our condolences from the whole district about your dad. I know you lost your dad. I didn't know you could preach, but you had me jumping up, and I talked to Mr. Jolly, and we had a good conversation last week. We're going to keep going with that. But I'm welcome you. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So just to discuss a little bit about what happens with in the athletic department. Obviously, athletics is extracurricular. Extracurricular is a very, very important piece to the overall development of all of our children. So to oversee that is an honor, especially coming from that place. You know, me of a former athlete in this district as well. So to oversee something that I was a part of as a student is an honor for me. So what I do, obviously, high school, middle school, I oversee our high school, middle school program that comes to scheduling games, home and away games. Obviously, we're in the Lake Erie League Conference, so a lot of our games are already scheduled by the league. So it's our non-league games that I have to reach out to other schools and attempt to schedule. And what I typically do is I typically, get a lot of input from my coaching staff as far as who they would like to play because they have the insight on their teams and kids and what type of schedule they would like to play. So scheduling games, practice schedule with the facilities has been rougher this year, obviously with not having a middle school facility and only utilizing the high school, elementary school, as well as the rec center gym. So no football field. So traveling to different places for that track, traveling to Bedford and Chanel for track classes and things like that. So just kind of coordinating a lot of those scheduling and things like that. Also oversee our coaching staff. Obviously, we have a lot of sports, a lot of head coaches from high school and middle school. So I oversee a lot of our staff, obviously our student athletes, in the athletic department, as well as our support staff. Support staff includes, our game day staff, our secretary, our security staff during game events, and things like that. So that's all under the athletic director's umbrella. I wanted to just share. I know, we have an organizational chart in the district, but I wanted to just share with you guys like the organizational chart for my team. I always joke with our senior leadership team as far as athletics being the best department in the district. So, I just wanted to kind of share what my team, who's on my team. It starts with my athletic secretary. She reports to me. Our high school faculty manager, our middle school faculty manager, our high school head coaches, and also our recreation supervisor. Those are the main people that report directly to me, and I have people underneath them that report to them. The high school coaches on game day, they'll report to our faculty manager because his colleague, she'll be the one at the game setting up, making sure getting them if music needs to be played or anything like that. She'll get that together for them on game day. Our high school coaches who have assistant coaches, they report to the head coach. The middle school coaches all report to the faculty manager. Things need to be ordered for middle school. The faculty manager is the person that'll reach out to me, and then we'll get certain things ordered because I don't need a million people all communicating to me. So we kind of funneled it through that way. And then our evening rec reception, and she'll report to our recreation supervisor. So this is my team. And these are our athletic programs. Obviously, at the high school level, we have cross country, football, and volleyball in the fall. We have girls basketball, boys basketball, wrestling, and indoor track in the winter. And in the spring, we have softball, baseball, track, and cheerleading this fall and winter as well. And then this year, obviously, we had the chance to add esports to the mix. And I believe we should have middle school esports coming as well, because I think we had a lot of interest from our middle school athletes. So for middle school, we just have right now football, volleyball in the fall, girls and boys basketball and wrestling in the winter, softball, baseball, and track in the spring. Obviously, cheerleading is fall and winter for middle school. And some of the future programs that I'm looking to implement coming up, I would like to implement middle school cross country. I know we brought Coach Coleman back as our track coach. He's also our previous cross country coach as well. So we've had talks in the past about adding middle school cross country just to get those kids running early to prepare them for the high school level. We would also like to add middle school indoor track to our program. Obviously, with high school and middle school connected moving forward, it'll be a lot easier to connect or to recruit for our high school coach to recruit coaches for one, and then also those middle school kids to participate. We would like to implement golf. You guys been gracious enough to help us add golf clubs within the district. With the elementary and middle school and even the high school going to top golf and participating in that. So hopefully, those kids participating at top golf and learning can roll into us developing a golf team again. Back in the district. So bowling. We've had some interest from bowling when I put 23, 24 because I believe we could potentially have a bowling team this year. We've had some interest from a lot of students this spring, especially those students that were participating in our golf program. So we really believe that this is the year that we can implement a bowling program at the high school. So swimming, we've been in some talks. We have and I'll get to that further, but we have a swim instructor. She's a lifeguard instructor who's a great person, and she's trying to develop a swim club at the rec center that hopefully that can go into having a swim team at some point, which we've never had here in Warrensville. So that's my goal. And then also lacrosse at some point. Obviously, there's a lot of scholarship opportunities and things. Lacrosse is a very, very big sport in the United States. So I really would like our kids to participate in lacrosse at some point as well. So these are some of the potential programs. And soccer as well. Soccer is a sport that I would like to, add to our program moving forward. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about, like Final Forms. Final Forms is a platform that we use. It's a compliance platform. So Final Forms we use for registering for sports. So to participate in a particular sport, you have to register through Final Forms in that sport. Typically in the past, OHSAA has documentation that you have to complete in order to participate, which is a sports physical, which is a concussion document. It's like a packet of it was about 16 sheets of paper. So now all of that has been put online. So only documentation that's being taken home by parents and students is the actual physical form, because you have to take that to your doctor to get signed and stamped to make it official. Everything else is just e-sign, it's e-signature, it's less paperwork, it's less filing that we have to do in the department. So which is a great tool. It also gives us access to be able to communicate with parents. If we have a game change or a cancellation on a Wednesday afternoon in softball, you can communicate directly to those parents who are registered for that sport to say, hey, we have the cancellation. They'll get that email instantly. So it's a great tool for communicating with parents, with coaches, and with the students as well, because all that information and register is all in Final Forms. And compliance, we house all of the compliance for our coaches and our students. So the students' physicals, the expiration dates are input into Final Forms, and they'll receive notifications beginning 60 days before their expiration dates. Before, we would have to literally go and check manually to see when physicals expire, put them on a sheet and things like that. What this does, it actually gives you automatic emails to the parents and the students' email to let you know 60, 45, 30, 15, and when it expires. And all those other documentations as well. Even our coaches have to register in Final Forms. All of their requirements to coach as far as their background checks, CPR, concussion, all those requirements to receive a pupil activity permit, all of those are housed in Final Forms. And even when they're the same way as far as the students, when those files are expiring, they'll be notified of that. Go ahead. So some of the business side, as far as what I do, as far as purchasing, obviously I do a lot of purchasing, a lot of uniforms, equipment. Obviously with the move, we have a lot of purchases that need to be made. I'm actually in the process right now of ordering like new chairs for the new gym. We have a scores table that we have to purchase. We have new uniforms and things like that, football helmets that we have to purchase. So a lot of purchases and things going on. So Dr. Rock, I think I go through the right process of purchasing. I don't get a lot of complaints from the Treasury Department when it comes to that. So I think I do things the right way. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rock. I appreciate that shout out. Game contracts. We have a system. It's called Arbiter. Arbiter is similar to Final Points, but only has to deal with game contracts. So there's calendars in Arbiter. Typically, schools would have to mail a contract to the opposing school so you can sign it and things like that. Now everything is online. You click a button to accept the contract, and that's a binding contract to say, hey, we expect you to be at this game. You know what I mean? We expect officials as well are through Arbiter, and they have sheets that we have them sign. So I send over to the Treasury Department so they can remit payment to our officials and things like that. So also OHSA compliance. Every year we have to let the OHSA know how many sports we have. We also have to let them know who's participating in what tournament. So boys basketball, obviously we're going to participate in the tournament every single year. Pretty much every sport that we have, we participate in the tournament. But you have the ability to say no to a tournament, or you have the ability to say you don't have this particular sport. And a lot of that lets them know who will be participating in the tournament, who they need to send to the Northeast Athletic District Board so they can put tournaments and things like that together. I have to submit all of our personnel online, who's the principal, who's the superintendent, because they receive correspondence throughout the year as well from the OHSA. So I'm the person that kind of oversees the compliance of OHSAA through our myohsa.org account. So that's a part of what I do. Hold on. Okay. Also monitoring obviously eligibility. Eligibility is a huge thing that us coaches are obviously y'all can see I'm hairless now that we deal with on a regular basis. So the kids, the eligibility is very important. Obviously, you have to maintain a certain standard to participate in athletics. So overseeing that, we use Infinite Campus to look at grades and things like that. One thing I'm proud of is about 7-8 years ago. Prior to that, we used eligibility cards every week. You walked around, you gave the teacher eligibility card, they signed it, you brought it to your coach. But one thing I got when I started in this position, the feedback that I got from teachers was, if you had 20 kids in class that were athletes, you're spending 15 minutes looking up grades, filling those things, filling out cards. So that's taken away from instruction time. So I said, well, we have a tool that's online. What can we do to minimize that? So there's a way that I can filter. So let's just say football. I can have the whole football roster filtered and basically print out a sheet to show all of the kids on the football team what their grades are at any given time, in any given point of the week, after the quarter, and things like that. And what that does is, again, it doesn't take away from instruction time, and it also gives our coaches in one easy form 2-3 sheets every single kid on their team and what their grades are at that given time. And also you guys were gracious enough to approve Beyond the Field. Beyond the Field is Beyond the Field is the program that we have that is a supplement to our program. They help us not only with academics, they help us with study table, they help us with mentoring, they help us with tutoring for our student athletes. They also help us with getting kids internships. If students would like to become a doctor or a lawyer, Coach Gibson is very good at connecting students with professionals that can give them guidance and mentor them in whatever direction that they want to go in. So this has been a very huge addition to our athletic program. And as you can see, just from a grade point average standpoint from last year, I think we started in like November when we first started. So the winter sports are the ones that we've had basically last year and this year grade points. So you can see every sport, basically the fall, we didn't have it in the fall, but you can see the team GPA after the football season was 2.1. So that increased by 0.5 for this year. And you could just see the increase for every single one of those sports listed. So Beyond the Field is working. It does work. And I just wanted to report to you guys that, like I said, I appreciate you guys allowing that program to be a part of our program. Obviously, when you talked about Infinite Campus, it's it's our grading system, or I think we're moving to a different system moving forward, if I'm not mistaken. But Infinite Campuses again houses all the students' information, and what we do typically for eligibility, instead of Fridays being those eligibility those L card days, Monday we choose because what we noticed is sometimes teachers, you'll give them the weekend to input grades. You may grade on their time. You may grade reports over Saturday and Sunday, or grade papers and things like that. So they may input grades over the weekend. And then also one of our football coach years ago, he said, "Well, I may not know who's on my team on the next week," or however he put it. But Monday, if you know who's going to play on Friday, that'll be a better day. So all week I can prepare for a game to know who I have on my roster, who I expect to be on the field by having that information on Monday. So we decided to go with eligibility being done on Mondays, and again, it also helps the staff to give them the days over the weekend. So as you can see, if you have two Fs on the eligibility report, you can't play for that particular week. If you have an F, a particular class, we'll give you time to get that up. But if you have that F again that following week, you'll be ineligible to participate for that week. And again, all this goes for the kids that are eligible to participate for that particular quarter. Mm-hmm. So if you aren't eligible to participate in that quarter, this doesn't even matter. So this only applies to the students that are actually eligible by state standard and Warrensville Heights City School standard. Yeah.
Quick question. Yeah. So for those kids that are ineligible for either the Fs, multiple or two Fs in one report, how is that information fed up to the coach at Beyond the Field?
So every Monday, my secretary sends out emails to the coaches, Coach Gibson, who's Beyond the Field, and myself with those eligibility reports for every single sport. Mm-hmm. Coach Gibson sees every single report, things like that, and Coach Gibson helps communicate with the coaches. We have a whole system in place. So if a kid has an F, they have to meet with Coach Gibson. They have to come on their lunch break. They have to attend study table as well, because we have study table 3 days a week. But those kids with the Fs and even Ds as well, they have to meet with Coach Gibson to find out what's going on with this F or this D. And what we're finding is a lot of the Fs are just missing assignments. It's not that these kids aren't able to do the work. Mm-hmm. They're just not turning in. Yep. And then sometimes we have issues where kids are turning in, but the grades aren't being updated. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, we have some hiccups with the system or whatever, but that's the system that we have. But the communication goes out, and Coach Gibson is in the building pretty much 3-4 days a week. So he's there. He's on the computer. He sees it. He gets that information, and he communicates it out when it comes to the grade reports. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem. So overseeing the recreation, obviously, it was a huge addition to have our recreation supervisor, but recreation still falls under my umbrella. So I'm proud of the direction that our recreation center is going with our rec programming. Obviously, scheduling of the facilities for all of our youth programs, and some of our programs that we have for our youth include obviously tumbling, our basketball training program in the fall. We started back our recreation league this winter, which was huge. I don't know if you guys ever rode past the high school on a Saturday during the winter. It was packed every single Saturday. So that was a huge success. We actually, Mr. Jolly spearheaded our youth wrestling. We targeted a group of kids at our elementary school with the help of Principal Thompson. And we started off, I want to say, with 35, 40 kids. And I think it finished with close to 20 kids. So that program, I think, will be growing as well. So our Tiger Wrestling program, we're trying to get back to the glory days as well. But it's going to start at the youth level. So we're proud to kind of bring that program back. Our travel basketball program, I will say this. When I was growing up, we didn't have travel basketball in Warrensville. So I'm proud to be one of the reasons why that program is here and will help in the success of not only our boys, but our girls program as well. And also youth soccer. We've had different soccer clinics. Reverend Bass has helped us tremendously with that. He's passionate about soccer, so we included him in all of our planning and ideas in soccer because that's his expertise. So we have someone in the community that can help us with that. Some of our partners include our youth football and cheer program, our Warrensville Tigers youth football and cheer program, our youth track and field program right now, which has 70 student athletes. running for that. And we had 23 student athletes in the youth track program go to nationals last year. And we had 5 win nationals, a part of that youth track program. We have the Diamond Kings baseball team. We partnered with them last year. They did Monday clinics for us on the John Dewey Fields, so we had them participate. B-Buzz baseball, we'll probably implement them. It's very tough to kind of start a baseball league. So we'll have a partnership where we'll kind of students that want to participate in baseball, we'll kind of push them to the B-Buzz League. They actually used our fields before the construction began, but they do their program at Carouge Park, right down there. So it's about 5 minutes away from Warrensville, 7 minutes max. And then Swim Baby Swim. Simone Powell, she's the person, she does swim lessons at the rec. She's the one trying to implement our swim program. She's also, I know we have Miss Clark at the middle school and Mr. Roberts at the elementary school. They started a swim club. So they started actually every Monday, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, at the recreation center. So Simone is the person that's doing those swim lessons for that group. So she's a community. Her sons are in the district. They're students. So to have people that are in the district and in the community participating and giving back to our programs is huge. So I'm definitely proud of that. So our athletic website. That's something that I know we have our district site, but if you ever go on the district site and you click athletics, it'll take you to our specific athletic site, which we give up. We try to keep it updated, but it's just me. So I don't have like a team of people working on the website. So it's just me. So if you don't see an update, don't hold it against me. But I try to keep it as up to date as possible with news, with pictures, with scores and schedules and things like that. Maps to the game. Once the schedule's online, it gives parents and community members directions to all the games that we play. Again, pictures. You can purchase our game tickets and even all the other events that we have. Our Final Roar event, you can get tickets on our athletic website for the Final Roar event. And we have an online Tiger store that you can purchase Tiger gear and customize and things like that. Also, it's a link to our Final Forums. Parents can go on our athletic site to link to Final Forums to register for sports and things like that. And also our recreation program. You can go on our athletic site. We have a recreation tab. You can see what programs we have. And sign up through that site. So that's athletics. That's what I do. Thank you for listening.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Refresh my memory. What is the eligibility requirements through OHSAA?
So there's only one. You only have to pass in high school. You have to be passing 5 credits or the equivalent of 5 credits to participate.
So they changed it because didn't it used to be based on a grade point average?
It used to be
like a low grade point.
Used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be, but there is no GPA requirement by the OHSA. It is only credits. You have to have 5 credits or the equivalent to participate in the sport. Now, districts obviously have their minimum. They have a GPA minimum. Some do, some don't. Some are higher, some are lower.
Yeah.
But the state minimum is 5 credits you have to take. Yep. Middle school is just 5 classes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then just one final comment. I just want to say congratulations, Brian. I mean, you rebuilt programs. You built up the entire athletic program. You've done an amazing job.
Thank you.
We're really proud.
I really appreciate
that.
For
everybody. We're really proud
I appreciate
of the work that you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Brian,
Yes.
what time does the rec open?
Right now, the rec opens at 6:30 a.m. We had to adjust the time, obviously due to the unfortunate circumstances.
So we can start walking at 6:30 in the
6:30 a.m.
Okay.
Yep. And the rec closes at 9 p.m.
9.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Will it be shut down during the construction? At what point will it be shut down?
So it probably won't be.
Okay, good.
So now the entrance will change. We just actually met about that today. The front of the rec will be shut down, obviously, because of the makeover that's taking place on the building. But the rec center will still be available to enter, come in, and
So where's the entrance?
So right now we haven't. I don't think we determined the exact.
It's gonna be the back door near his office.
So yeah,
create a pathway that'll put you in the back door.
Oh, okay. On Northfield?
No, the door that's used to enter into the stadium. So it's a door in the rec center that's in the back that used to take you to the stadium.
Oh, gotcha. I know.
So what they're gonna do is connect the parking lot that's
behind
the rec center to that back entrance. So it should be lit up and everything. Actually, it's in the front of the school, so you'll be able to see the front of the new school when you walk into the entrance to the
To the
rec.
rec.
All right, thank you.
Yep, no problem. No problem.
Quick question, athletic
Yes, sir.
director. On final forms, those help you with grades too? I know you have them, but the final form?
So it doesn't. It's,
Okay.
it's only compliance. It's only communication. But all of our grading is Infinite Campus.
Okay.
It's just everything is there. But one thing about Final Points is great, and I really think the district should adopt it. Is the communication piece, because you can communicate through an email. And I know we have a system through our Infinite Campus where you can send all calls and do things like that. But Final Forms is amazing. I live in Shaker. My daughter, she plays volleyball in Shaker. Anything going on, like, you get emails. You get it instantly. It comes to you, and I'm sure Mr. Jolly may be familiar with Final Forms as well. But it's a fantastic tool. It's a fantastic tool again for compliance, but not only that, but the communication piece. Because we all know how important communication is, especially to the parents. It's very, very important. So it's great.
And the other question, how is the athletics scholastic doing sports as far as student population? I mean, you go from the A, double A, C. Like our football is different. How are they adjusting that on different student population per public school?
So how it works, like with that, obviously every sport there's a different number of divisions. So football, because of the numbers and different levels of enrollment per school, they have 7 divisions for football. Most other sports is just 4, and then track is just 3. And obviously we can go and speak because there's a lot of rules and things to it and things like that. But our division for most of our sports is Division 2, and football is Division 4. And you have some schools that are 1,000, 1,200 students that are Division 2 for football. So it depends. But every year that could change. Like us for basketball, when I was coaching, we may be Division 3 one year, but then next year we may be Division 2, and we may be Division 2 for a few years. Then depending on the enrollment, and it's always based on the previous year's enrollment. So next year's divisions were based on this year's enrollment of 9th, 10th, and 11th graders in your district. And also they added competitive balance. So with competitive balance, and I'm not going to go into full detail with that when it comes to kids that transfer, when it comes to open enroll students, those kids are like multiplied. So if you have a kid that's in Warrensville, lives in Warrensville, been in Warrensville, they're like considered a 0 because they initially go off your EMIS numbers, which are sent through, from Ms. Rudolph's office. That's our EMIS numbers. So the competitive balance numbers come in when it comes to that. Those are the add. So we may be a Division 3, but if we get a kid that's transferred in, lives with grandma, he may be considered 2 kids. So that 2 kid may put us over the hump to become a D2 school instead of D3. And, but I'm not gonna go over
Right.
about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Brian.
All right, next up we have we have operations Miss Harris, and then we have Miss Harris will be up next with a brief presentation about operations.
Good evening,
Good
Good evening.
evening.
Madam President and board members, Mr. Valley and Dr. Ross. On behalf of the Operations Department, we would like to thank you for allowing us to come and present some information about our department. I am Ms. Harris, Director of Operations. Mr. Chandler is the coordinator of special projects, which means he will assist in every department. Mr. McDonald is the supervisor for custodians and grounds. Ms. Hickman is the supervisor for transportation, and Mr. Heino is the supervisor for food services. He's not here tonight taking a final, but we will represent him. He's not here. I would just like to tell you some of the departments that fall under operations is buildings and grounds, transportation, and food service and technology. As Mr. Swift said, athletics is a wonderful department. The operations is the best department. I would just like to tell you a little bit about our department. We currently have 56 employees in operations. And in the custodian department, we have 17 in total, but 16 custodians and 2 groundsmen. In transportation, we have 17 employees in total. But the breakdown is 10 bus drivers, 2 van drivers, 2 van monitors, 1 dispatch, 1 mechanic, and 1 supervisor. In the food service department, we have in total 17 employees, 16 cooks, and 1 supervisor. We have 1 secretary for the department, Miss Pacey, and 1 coordinator, and myself, the director of operations. So that's just a little bit to let you know about our department. But I also want you all to know that we've gone through a lot of training this year. We've implemented the new Time Plus for our staff members to lock in the new software, and every supervisor has to train on that. Mr. McDonald, and he will talk about this department.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
evening.
A facility, the high school, middle school, elementary, early childhood center, Eastwood operations building, and Fannie P. Dean Recreation Center. We streamline the process of addresses, building concerns and issues. We handle everything inside and outside all the facilities. We handle all facilities requests, we handle all work order requests. This school year we had filled 5 additional custodians. I hired 5 additional custodians to our team, and my custodian team is fully staffed. So that's basically what I do for some of what I do for buildings around.
Listen, real quick before you move on. The Eastwood site. What's our maintenance schedule for over there?
So buildings and grounds, they should be cutting the grass. We should be cutting the grass weekly.
Okay.
We should be keeping up with it. But by us having another additional bill, we just purchased additional lot over on Warrensville Center.
Northfield.
And that's another added stress that we have 2 grounds people. Not to say giving any excuse. Grounds people, they for the most part they do a real good job. But it just slows the process down. But they they really do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, fantastic.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
My name is Shanita Heaton. I am the transportation supervisor.
Okay.
This year we hired a new transportation dispatcher. Her name is Larissa Abdullah, and she was just nominated for True Tigers resident.
Okay.
Congratulations to her.
All right.
This year we have filled 6 bus driver positions, 2 of them which are rehires. So kudos to that. We are responsible for transporting all scholars K through 12. We service 5 charter non-public schools. We're responsible for filling all field trip requests. We provide transportation within our consortium, which is with Bedford Heights, Maple Heights, Eagle Heights, and Shaker Heights. We also provide transportation to Auburn Career Center for our fire EMT program. We currently have 10 buses, 9 which are routed, and 2 vans. This year, we've implemented a new routing software called TransFinder to help us streamline our routing system. And we purchased a new bus, which is bus number 14, for our special needs students. And this year, we also updated our bus registration process to an online process, making it a lot easier for our parents because a lot of them are working and they can't come in to fill out the paperwork, so it makes it much easier to have that online option. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. My name is Jonathan Chandler, Coordinator of Special Projects, Office of Operations. I'll be covering Food Service Director Matt Heino's section. He's not here today. Currently in food service, we're fully staffed in all 3 buildings. High school and middle school highlights alternate entrees that we have available for students and staff include chef salads, yogurt parfaits, and sandwiches. We provide after-school snacks for various programs, fresh food cups. The high school has hot meals for Ward 2 Academy located at the YMCA YMCA. Also, alternate entrees at our elementary school for staff and students is chef salads and sandwiches. Our new vendors, we have Dogo's, Creative Gardens, Wodo's. 2 additional food service staff have passed their Serve Safe certifications provided by the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. We have monthly health inspections and education training provided by Innovation Solutions Group. We are in compliance in all of our buildings for food inspections reports by the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. Also, in our technology department is responsible for fixing all Chromebooks. We are also responsible for servicing all help desk tickets regarding technology, creating a more efficient process to return our Chromebooks to our students after repair. So that was one of our areas we were trying to come up with a fast, streamlined process to get all of our Chromebooks back. We have 2 techs that provide services for the whole entire district. So they've been doing a good job. We're also responsible for ordering all technology, computers, printers, any technology we're responsible for. This year, we have answered 873 service tickets regarding technology issues in the district. Also, I want to add to addition to Mr. McDonald for grounds, Eastwood. We are working with Infinity Construction. Currently, Eastwood is not graded well after the building is tore down. So a lot of rebar and rocks in there that prohibits grounds from cutting over there as they should because they tear up the mower. So we are working to resolve that issue.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So I just want to let us know, again, everything in operations that the district handles, we touch. So I just want you all to know that you see the students first thing in the morning to drive them to school, to serve them breakfast and lunch during the day, on top of just a few things that we would like to make sure that we set up the back to school fair for the monthly food bank distribution. We also got the 9th grade classrooms prepared in the trailers over the weekend and did that in the weekend. For the HBCU fair, for all STEAM fairs, for every promotion, graduation, anything that is done in the school, operations stuff.
Okay.
This concludes our presentation. If you all have any questions.
Thank you, board. Are there any questions?
No, that's
Good job.
Thank you for a great
You're
job.
doing a good job. Thank you.
Yep, so I just wanted all our departments so everyone can report, so everyone knows what everyone does. I think a lot of times there's a lot of assumptions of what people don't do or what they do. A lot of people like to talk about what people don't do and what they do. I think we have a good group of supervisors who have took us to another level. All of these people that's in our department have been internal promotions. Shanita was a bus driver; she's a supervisor now. Mr. McDonald was a custodian; he's a supervisor now. Jonathan was he was the jack of all trades.
Yeah,
but now he's promoted to a coordinator. You got Miss Braxton, who was a principal, who's the director of operations. So it just shows that those are all internal people that we promoted and provided pathways for people to grow. So again, that was one of the charges of the board. Mr. Burks, when I first got on, is to try to build pipelines for our people to have hopes that they can stay and move up in the organization. So I think that we've done that, especially in operations. Have demonstrated that we can grow people and then give people opportunities to lead. That group is doing a great job. So,
Mr. Jolly, I also want to say I'm really impressed with the way we automated so many of our processes. You know, I mean, they talked about the trans finder and all the things that they did in athletics. So we're really bringing the district up to point.
yeah, we still got a little ways to go in some aspects, but a lot of things have, the bus routing system. That was something that was on paper.
Yeah.
And Shanita has mastered that over the last year and a half, getting it together. So it's been a lot of work done, and our people are showing the attitude and the willingness to learn and grow. So we're very appreciative of the work that they're doing. And during Christmas break, Mr. McDonald and Lester was at the building during Christmas Day when the water leaked. And then this leads to Doug coming up because Mr. McDonald and Jonathan, but Mr. McDonald in particular really been on top of what's going on at the elementary school since the school opened. Um, they've been really paying attention, and there's been some things that's wrong at the elementary school with its design and different things with the HVAC system. And you know, Mr. Doug's been working with us from day one. But I want to put special attention to Mr. McDonald and Jonathan, but Mr. McDonald has really has put his hand in this. He's been on top of it. He's been calling vendors. He's been getting double checking, triple checking things to the point where we are now, where we have identified some clear issues. They talk about documentation. They've been documenting since we got in the building. You remember, we first got in, like the second day we were in there, was a water issue. We had to shut the building down because it was a water pressure issue. And since then, they've been paying attention, been on top of it. We had to get things fixed. We had to close school one day because of a water issue, water pressure issue. This was recently. We had flooding where the toilets just overflowed. So with that, I bring Doug up so that Doug can discuss some of the issues we have with this brand new building that we put up that's $36 million.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is not going to be as exciting as Mr. Swift, and I don't know what Dogo is, but it sounds pretty good. So, as Mr. Jolly said, I'm here to talk about the elementary tonight. Okay. Can you go forward? So we're trying to simplify. This is very complicated. So I've been asked to try to simplify our approach to this because what I'd like to do is kind of give an update, a little bit of the history of the project, and a little bit of history of some of the issues that we have. We've put together a project approach to try to find some solutions to some of the issues that we're finding. And then we also have a request as part of that approach has us actually doing some recommissioning and actually putting a PO together for some equipment. Okay, can we go to the next slide? So as you all know, in 2020, we finished the elementary school, we moved into it. We did do the startup and the commissioning at the time of the project completion in November. We followed all the standard procedures that you need to follow as you do in the building. Okay, so after we build it, 11 months later, we went through as a whole team, we walked through it, we worked with the district, we worked with the contractors and engineers to go through to identify items that we were having so that they could still start covering those. So fast forward a couple years, we have actually had some issues that have continued, some issues that are concerns. Early on, we put together a detailed log of everybody that comes into the building. So we have a process, a document, so that we can kind of look at that document and see over the years, do we have any patterns or any history of anything that's going on? And it's just kind of it's a ready check for everybody involved. So we have that together so that we can see who was in the building, what they did. We actually have the district sign off on it so that they can witness and say, yeah, they did it or didn't. So we're documenting all of these issues that are coming up. Along the way, we've brought in and continue to bring in Infinity, because really they're the ones that built the building themselves. And we're also keeping the architects and engineer aware of all of these issues. Okay. The district's also worked with service providers and the maintenance providers to take care of the equipment. They've done this consistent throughout, and that's another important thing that has to happen as you find that you have problems in a project. Okay. Recently, we've had air handlers and some boiler issues that have kind of escalated. They've asked us to get back involved so that we can actually pull the whole team and say, listen, something might not be right with this building. The district, as Mr. Jolly said, has been taking care of the issues. We've been managing the issues, but we're just wondering, is this normal, or do we need to take a closer look at it, and how are we going to manage that? Okay. Can you go to the next slide, please? So as we identify these issues, we have to kind of get down to the root cause, okay? Because unfortunately, as the owner of the building in the district, it's your responsibility to take care of issues. But that's not to say that it wasn't somebody's fault and that there isn't some ability to go back to someone if they caused the problem. So really, there's only 4 things that we're going to try to find out. And we're going to go through a process to try to find these out. We might be able to, we might not, might get escalated, but we're trying to go through the process now so we document everything so we can understand. The one item is it could be an equipment failure. Okay, I'm going to talk about boilers specifically tonight, so I might just use that as an example. So these boilers, they have equipment inside, and they might have failed. Might have been a welding issue, might have been something like that. If that's the case, it'll go back to the manufacturer for them to go ahead and cover. Okay. Installation. That was an installation. Go back to the construction manager, and then they'll go back through their trades that were responsible for the installation. It might have been an operations or a maintenance issue. We weren't taking care of it. That might be a cause for it. Okay. So it might be something to do with the people that were maintaining, the boiler or something like that. The final reason could be a design issue. Okay, so it could be a bad design that even though the equipment, nothing wrong with the equipment, nothing wrong with the installation, but when they put it together, the design might not have said, hey, this needs more water than we were getting. Okay, so we got to try to figure all of that out to kind of find the source of the problem. Okay. So our approach to this, and again, tonight we're specifically looking at this boiler issue, but we do have some concerns with the air handlers. We do have some other concerns with the building. So we're looking at the whole building for these items. We've brought back the construction team, so we have the architect, the construction manager, commissioning agent. We're working with the OFCC. They help us with the project. So we have our whole team, of course, the district that knows about these problems and everything. So we're starting to have meetings where we're pulling everybody together. And, this is the issue. What could be wrong? How are we going to address it? As I mentioned before, referring to those logs is going to be pretty important, and we're going to continue to manage the logs. So as ongoing issues come on, we'll continue to know, okay, now Mr. Jolly mentioned if we have a water issue, someone came in to fix the water issue, who was it, what were they there for, how long did it take, even understand the invoice or PO or work that was involved. Okay. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to rebalance the system. So that includes air balancing and water balancing, so that they go through and they'll check the diffusers and they'll check the water system to make sure it's flowing and that everything's operating correctly. Okay. Another thing that we're going to do is actually recommission the building. So we did commission the building, and I think years back, as we explained, commissioning is kind of the process where Navy started this with ships. When they would build a ship, they'd go through and they'd commission it so that they would go through every system to make sure it was working the way it was designed. And then that way, before they went out into the sea and had a problem, they kind of understood. So we do our best effort as we build a building to go through and commission. That was done, but years later, we know that we've modified the system. There's been a problem, so we shut off a valve. There's been a hot area or cold area, so we've modified the building automation system. So we know that we've tried to tweak the building to get it to overcome some of these problems. So one of the first suggestions is to go back and to recommission the building, kind of set it back to the way it was designed so we can get focused to say, we don't know if something might have been shut off and that might have been causing some problems. You know what I mean? So one of the things we're asking for tonight is to recommission the building. Now, this is something that the OFCC, with their state projects, usually recommend the districts do after 3-5 years or so. Just because they know when you move into a building, you're going to have issues. You have people that are maintaining a building that's never been built before. They're learning how to maintain it. You have service providers that may be doing a good job, may not be doing a good job. Recommissioning is really to protect your investment, to make sure that the systems are running right. And the thought is, we go through this process. The commissioning agent is a third party. They have no vested interest in the design or the construction of it. They're just looking to say, this is what was designed, this was built, this is how it's performed. So we're hoping to get that information to help educate us on to say, okay, maybe this is the problem. How do we fix that problem? Okay. The other thing that we're going to do with the recommissioning is we've asked for a peer review. And what that is we're not sure that this isn't a design issue. So we've asked Osborne, their engineers, to design buildings. We've asked them, as you do your commissioning, can you do a peer review so that you can run the calculations, you can understand what the equipment needs are, and say from an engineering standpoint, should this work, or is there a calculation or something? So again, of the 4 different causes that we might have, we want to kind of double check to see, if this is a design issue or something. Okay. Next slide, please. So unfortunately, as uncomfortable as it is and frustrating as it is, right now the district is covering the initial costs for these repairs and for kind of troubleshooting these items. We had warranty items before, and as we're still pushed back on these items, I called Charlie Izzo myself. We talked to him specifically about this to see if there'd be any kind of cooperation with trying to troubleshoot these items or anything else. And basically, we're kind of at the point where all of the teams that have worked on the project are kind of protecting themselves a little bit and say, listen, if it was our fault, we'll take care of it, but we need to figure out that it was our fault first. Okay, so what we're doing is going through this process, trying to keep the collaboration of the team so that we can find out whose fault it is, and then hold whoever is accountable. Okay. As the team will review the recommissioning that is going to take place, and then as I mentioned, as an example for this, we're looking at these boiler heat exchangers. So if we find out that it was the manufacturer issue, then that'll be covered under warranty. And the PO that we're requesting tonight, it won't be requested. Okay. Or if it's a installation issue, then we would talk to Infinity about how they're going to go ahead and reconcile that with the district. Okay. But I think we're still at the point now where there's a level of frustration of these items that are happening, and we're just trying to figure out something with the building automation system, or is there something, like I said, design or equipment that we can fix. Next slide, please. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. It's actually on this slide. So I thought that when the building was completed, we had a warranty on the building, and then individual warranties on some of the equipment. Is that the way it works?
That is correct.
And then how long are those warranties for?
It varies.
Okay.
It varies for the warranties, and some of the companies have different policies. And we'll get into the detail of this boiler because we've had a lot of pushback on this request that we're making tonight, where we pushed back and said, hey, we really think this should be under warranty. Why is the district being asked to cover this? And the company has a policy that says we're not going to manufacture anything until at least we have a PO that says if this wasn't our fault, we're going to get covered for it. And I'll explain that. But it varies by equipment, and it also and we also have, just like all warranties, we got to show them that hey, we've serviced the building, we've done our preventative maintenance. That's why the log is important, so we have a record, and then you can go back to the individual companies that serviced it, and they can write reports, and then we can show everybody, well, you said we were supposed to maintain it this way. We've been maintaining it this way. We don't know why your equipment isn't working, but it's not working.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
So this goes back to the elementary school. So the construction team, the architects and engineers were GPD and Dynamics. Since then, Dynamics has been merged or bought out by IMEG. So one of the things, and I kind of think this is a positive thing, we have a new engineer and new fresh set of eyes. They're taking ownership of it, coming out, they're looking at it. They weren't the original designers of the building. So in some ways, we have a new, fresh engineer that might be able to help us with some of these issues we've been talking about for a couple of years. The construction manager is Infinity Construction. And in this case, their trade contractor was Milky. And then you have all these layers below. So Milky hired Wadsworth that does our building automation system. So that's all the computer system that controls the technology of the programs for how the system works. We have boiler specialists. So they're the representative that bought the Fulton boilers and installed them. Then under them was Fulton, the boiler manufacturer. And then we also have balancing, which was RH Cochran Associates. And then as far as the next slide, please. So for service, the district has been working with Comfort Systems to do basically the service and maintenance. They also work with Wadsworth for the building controls. So we have some consistency between who installed it and who's managing it. And then also with boiler specialists to provide management, preventative maintenance for the boilers. And next slide. So this next slide, I think, gets into the issue that we're specifically talking about tonight. So the elementary school has 3 boilers. 2 of the boilers have cracks in the heat exchange. Okay, so this is equipment inside the boiler. This should be covered under warranty. We expect that it will be under warranty. Unfortunately, the policy that Fulton and even Jonathan went directly to Fulton and they wrote a letter that said our policy is we go through this process. We get a PO. Once we have the PO, then we can manufacture the equipment. Then when they manufacture the equipment, getting ahead of myself. The PO that we're being asked to cover is $32,950. Okay. Next slide, please. So the process is when they get the PO, then the manufacturer will manufacture the equipment. About 4 to 6 weeks, then boiler specialists, Fulton, and shippers are going to come to the elementary school. They'll take out the heat exchangers of the 2 heat exchangers that are bad, replace them, and then have them repaired. Then they ship those heat exchangers back to Fulton. And then Fulton does an assessment to try to figure out why it did. These are very good pieces of equipment. We're told that it's very rare that this happens. And for it to happen at 2 different boilers, they suspect that this is some other issue causing the problem. We went back to them and said, well, we could also argue that it's very rare, but it happened in the same spot on 2 of the 3 boilers we have. Maybe you had a bad welder there that day or something like that. But with this PO right now, it gets us to start the process because it is a 4 to 6 week lead time. Pressure's on because we need to get the boilers in place before fall so we have heat in the building. The overall cost for the removal, for the manufacturing, for the replacement of these is about $142,000 overall. Okay.
And who's supposed to pay the $142,000?
So that will entirely depend on what the source of the leak is. On either it's a design issue, equipment issue, manufacturing issue, or an installation issue. But right now, to start the process, and the next slide, we've actually negotiated with boiler specialists because we've had a lot of meetings pushing back on this. And originally, it was supposed to be $75,000 PO. And then we said, well, what if we split that cost? So boiler specialist is actually, ideally, if this is approved, we would give boiler specialists a PO for $32,000. They would write a PO to Fulton for $76,000, which would cover the removal or the removal and the shipping of it, and it covers the cost for the 2 to basically be manufactured. So we've at least got to the point where we've shared that initial PO cost. with boiler specialists. I think that's my last slide. Nope. So this is the formal request. As I mentioned, there's a lot going on here. But to go through this process, we're requesting approval for the recommissioning, which is for $35,500, and that includes functional testing for the chilled and heating water system and for the air handler system, and then also the peer review. And then we're also requesting the boiler heat exchanger for $32,950, and that's the technical name of the equipment. And as I mentioned, boiler specialist. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Good, because I got a gang of them. I think my first question, I think is for our team, our ops staff, Ms. Harris. On the day-to-day basis, these problems that he's describing, the air handlers, the boiler, how are they affecting? What's happening in the elementary school because of these things?
So it's an ongoing problem that started from when the first traffic commission bill. One of the engineers, specialists who actually put the order in the building, he was making Infinity aware that the issue. I got paperwork right here, dating back from 2001 to the present time of the same issue. They talk about warranties. Okay, when they talk about warranties, it's select. Okay, so when we were going through the commissioning of the bill, they were hurrying up. They went through the commissioning, and we always, I was always identifying issues. In my opinion, they led us on what the year warranty was. And then they said, "Oh, you guys are out of warranty. Hit us with that." Now these
boilers?
These heat exchangers. They have like 3 to 5 year warranty. Okay. In my opinion, I'm like, what's the problem? What's the problem? What is the problem? You got 3 to 5 year warranty on them. Why not honor your warranty? At the end of this issue, that's how we have to work out there. That's how it happens. Like the issue you pay them to do. And once you tell them to take it back, but that's not the case now. And that's it's kind of frustrating and stressful for me because I work for the district and all these numbers, all these numbers got on that paper, right? Jobs. And tell him I have issues.
So what is it? Is it like on a day-to-day? What are they experiencing inside the building? Okay.
We're experiencing issues with the cold, boilers with high alarms. So since 2021, the building has turned over to all 3 boilers, 1, 2, and 3 have low flow alarms. Low flow alarms with the alarm trips, shuts, boiler shuts down, restores the system, it knocks off set bills to keep the building.
Okay.
We've had constant leaks. It's a glycol-based system. Basically keeps the water to a certain temperature. Glycol is right here. We've had multiple leaks as far as oil breaking within the 3-year period. But the most important thing right now for boilers is the expensive item. Have this low flow alarm. They turn over every minute. We're getting alarms 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
Boilers tripping. It's tossing on the building. It's causing other equipment in the building to come out.
Understood. All right. Okay. The recommissioning. How long total would that take? And the amount that we're paying for it, is that something that we would be looking to possibly recoup, or is that just lost cost to us?
Yeah, that would not be something that would be recouped. It's probably a 2-week process, and it's again, it's a professional service to go ahead and just reset the building to where it was at.
Okay, and so we're looking at the possible restitution maybe of the nearly $33,000. How likely do you feel? I mean, based upon like previous projects that you've worked on, when these type of things happen, and then the district goes for restitution, how likely is that restitution award to happen?
That's a challenging question to answer because all the variables are so different. I would think if we didn't have very detailed reports of all the service that was taken care of in the building, and if we didn't have the district has hired preventative maintenance companies to take care of it, I would think that it's going to be pretty likely that we're going to find that whatever the cause is, it was someone that the district hired to provide the service. It would be slightly different if you were maintaining everything completely on your own, and if the equipment was totally neglected for a couple of years. Then I could see, yeah, you can come back and say, no, this is the way you were operating. You weren't maintaining it or anything like that. But I think the district has been doing their preventative maintenance, hiring companies to maintain that. So of those 4 reasons, really operations and maintenance is really the one that the district is accountable for. Now we might find that it's a design issue, and then it might be a hurdle to escalate it and to actually retrieve it, but that'll be the district's decision, you know. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get all the information and have it so that you can make that decision and be in the best position. So it's hard to answer that question, but I can tell you with my experience, the things that are important is the people that have the documents and the proof, as Lester said, have emails. It's going to be very difficult for Infinity or for someone else to say they didn't know about it. I found emails as I was researching this back 2020. It was email with me going, and it's a chain of people. So it's going to be going down to get to that level and troubleshoot. But the big concern right now that I think, even with all the frustrations and everything that we have, is we've got to get in a position where in the fall we have these
issues resolved.
And I think there would be a big risk. Of course, this is your decision, but I think it would be a very big risk if we went to try to go back to Fulton and tell them they have to do the warranty, and if they just dig in and say we're not, then what are we going to do? You know.
About maybe about 2 slides back, when you had the layers of the subcontractors.
Yeah.
Are any of those contractors working on our? So there's the possibility of this problem being replicated at our middle school, high school right now. If it's right here, if these are the same players that are in play for the building that we're working on right now, so do we have the possibility of this exact same problem being replicated in our new school? I mean, if it's all the same players, then we have a problem.
Some problems at the end. We've been watching this, and I know even with the service of Melky and with working with Infinity and construction and everything else, this could happen. We're watching, and we have the checks and balances in place, but I can't tell you that we will have some problems on the new building. But I don't know that right now we're at the point where we're thinking that something this isn't a valve was shut off and it caused all of these problems. There's something more there, and that's why we're taking a closer look at all this.
Are we far enough along at the middle school, high school to start testing these things now, or are they not yet?
No, we have a different commission agent for the middle school, high school. It's called Four Seasons, and they walk through the building regularly, and they go through and they put together reports. We're starting to bring the systems online, so we're starting the commissioning process, because the commissioning project isn't a one-day event. This is going back to recheck this stuff, but there's actually specifications that are put together so that, you know, they're putting together a list of what has to happen when the equipment's installed, before it starts up, when it's tied in, how it's all balanced together and everything else. It's a whole process. That is all taking place. And so our commissioning agent walks the building, they put together detailed reports, like 20, 30 pages long of different items. Those, the architect and the construction manager and their trades go and repair those items, and then they're confirmed. So we are going through the commissioning project now, you know, with the high school and the middle school.
Or are there any other questions by other board members?
No, that's all I have. That's all.
Yes. So to answer your question, you're going to do a couple things. They're going to go back with the way it was originally designed, and they're going to go through their checklists to make sure that everything is set and operating the way it's supposed to be designed. So they're going to go back and check all of that, because it has been tweaked over the years with the building automation system being modified, with filters being open and closed manually and everything else. And then they're also going to go ahead and do the peer review. And I fully intend, because we're having meetings where we have everybody in the room talking about it, and we're having a dialogue from one engineer to another to say, now whether they're going to accept it or not, we'll have to see. But the goal is to get this information so that we can try to find out what the source of the problem is, so we can fix it. Because right now we've been fixing the symptoms, right? I mean, if Jonathan said it's hot in a room, they'll go and they'll tweak it so that it gets more comfortable. Well, why is it over the years we haven't been able to just get it comfortable in the first place? How do we go to the system and find out that problem?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, ma'am. In the pods areas, all of them.
I don't.
Sorry, can I just add something to the board? Yeah. With all of this, the Ohio, the OFCCs participating in this, they have a lot of leverage on this also to make sure that this gets done properly. And that's where they recommended for us to go ahead with the commissioning, because that's going to be the research that we do to determine what's going on, what moving parts. You know, the OFCC has a lot of leverage on this also, with our construction manager at risk in the state of Ohio and all of that. So they really are, they're pushing for this also for integral and how it's very involved in this. So it's very high level. You know, that's a overseeing. They're not leaving us out on our own.
Oh, okay. So they are proposing that we pay the $35,000. Okay, because I'm having a problem with all of this because of the fact that this building is less than 5 years old.
Yes.
And I have a problem with anything going wrong, that we should be taking responsibility of paying any more money. I just have a problem with that. You didn't do the job right. It's just simple as that. They didn't do it right. Now you want to point fingers and say, okay, the blame is over here. But no, it's 3 boilers. And you're telling me only one is working, Jonathan?
And that's the reason I'm saying they have leverage. We'll pay this somewhere along the line. We can reimburse that.
Oh, okay. I need to hear that.
Part of it back.
That's why I'm saying there's high leverage on this. The OFCC is probably the highest. They can go to the Attorney General.
Right.
If they really want to.
Okay.
And they can really push that. And even though all these other contractors are involved, our contract is with them.
Okay.
And so then the OFCC is also a contract. Because remember, we're 32% from the
state, we're paying 68%.
Right.
So the state has a vested interest in
Right.
this. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of leverage. There's a couple moves that we have to make just because we're stuck in the vacuum, no pun intended. We're stuck in the vacuum because we need to make moves before the fall season comes around.
Okay.
And with all the lead times for us. And believe me, this was very painful for me. And I don't know if you would have seen me in that meeting, you would have seen some surprising things from that beyond my personality. But I feel comfortable now about this, knowing that how the OFCC is going to help us. They have the leverage, and we also the other thing is too is our construction manager is for both projects, so we have leverage on that too. In other words, we hold the coffers of who gets paid when they get paid for this.
Doug, I do have a question. Knowing that we've had these problems since day one, what has taken so long to finally raise a hand and say, stop, let's get to the root cause before the district has to pay any more money on repairs? Because we've had a lot of issues from the beginning. So why did it take 3 years to finally say, stop, let's do the recommissioning, find out what the root cause is, and then begin to dive in to see who's going to be responsible for paying for these repairs and the replacement?
I think the catalyst was the size of the recent request, because we have been having meetings, we've been putting together lists, we've been bringing in Infinity and their trades, we have been looking at these issues. They have kind of just piecemealed and helped along with it, but it's not getting done.
I'm going to respectfully say I disagree with that. The brand new building, if this was your house, brand new construction, and you were having all these issues, you would have gone back to the builders and whomever else was involved with this and said, find out what's happening. So I respectfully hear that, but I'm going to also ask again, what took so long for somebody to say, let's stop and understand what the root cause issues are that's causing this brand new building to have all these issues? 3 years. I don't know how much money we've spent on repairs.
I don't know either. It's been a lot.
I don't have a satisfactory answer.
Yeah. So, and are they going to pay us that money back? Especially if they find out that it's not our fault. I know we've done the maintenance.
Yeah, we paid Milky to do it the first year. We paid to do the maintenance. I think part of it is Infinity. I would say Infinity as I guess they say they working with us. But the results haven't been what we expected. So
One thing as a board, and for 8 years going through this project, we as a board have to protect our investment, and that school building is our investment. So we're going to need companies in place to take care of things. Charlie can't take care of everything at that building. You can't have Lester go over there and take care of the things that they've been showing them for the last 3 years. We have to have companies in place to take care of these things when they're readily come available to get them done. Whoever did the design, didn't do the design, GDP, whoever, all that'll be ironed out. But we have to have a building to put almost 900 children in that building. So for whoever did it, what did it, we'll figure all that out. But we got to have companies, I'm seeing, in place so when things go down the road, we would think it's a new building. Oh, we ain't got to touch it 5 years. You got to touch those buildings. I mean, I don't know the fault of whoever, but we have to have people in place, companies in place, and Dr. Rock has dealt with conference systems that can come in, one call, Jonathan can call them and get them over there. Charlie shouldn't be over there picking his brain or calling Lester trying to get something fixed in the early morning before we got 900 students walking in that building. We got to cover ourselves. That's all I got to say.
Madam Chair, you hit the nail on the head. And unfortunately, I don't know that you've got an answer for us why it took so long. But we're in a position now where
our hands are tied. We've got to move. We have to do this because we cannot start the school year and put those kids in a building with poor temperature control.
But I tell you what, this next building, I think we should put something in place so that we're getting regular reports on any mechanical issues and everything done. Something so that at least we know, I mean, we knew that there was the issues, right from the beginning, but I didn't realize that it was ongoing like this. So, I mean, we've got no choice but to.
Yeah, something's got to be done different. It has to. So, I know we got one more question.
That's it. This question actually is for Dr. Rock and not for Doug. Dr. Rock, I got it being about $70,000 to 33, and then is that contingency fund money or general fund?
It's actually our PI maintenance fund.
Okay.
When we did way back when we started the projects, we had to make a decision to put a half of a mil, which for us is about $186,000 to $190,000 per year, into a fund for PI maintenance. Okay. For as long as we have bonds. So it started at 30 years. So I think we're at somewhere around 40 years now. So anyways, that'll accumulate. So we have money in that fund to use, and this is the perfect candidate
for that fund. All right.
This will not hit us.
All right. That was actually my concern.
And then the other part too is, yes, it adds up to 70,000, but half of that has to go out insured, 36,000 for rebalancing, recommissioning. But that 32,500,
possibly recoupable.
We're not paying it. So they actually tell us we have to pay, and then that's going to be a fight too.
Understood.
So, but we need the PO as a process to show to them that so they can go and rebuild or do heat exchange.
Understood. All right.
And we already negotiated with them because we actually need two.
And they're going to cover one. We're going to cover.
They're going to put the bill on one. We're going to do the PO. So I won't be making any payments on that.
So you won't be cutting that check.
No payments are going out. On the commissioning, it'll go out.
The 36.6, that is an expenditure.
You notice that fund is 034. You don't see that fund.
Is that the P&I maintenance account?
Yes, that's
okay. So there's P&I, and then there's P&I maintenance. So it's permanent improvement and permanent improvement.
Yeah, permanent improvement, and then the other one's called permanent improvement maintenance.
Okay, got it. Never heard of that.
Good questions.
Doug, I know this was a hard conversation to have with us today, so thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have one question before we go. Doug, on any of your other projects, have they had problems with that type of boiler and any of the other projects out of the school? No. Because, Dennis always talks about Berkshire and all this and what they did. Not
that I've experienced.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. That concludes the reports for today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jolly. All right, we're going to move on into our agenda, but I do have a question before we put a motion on the floor for Section 2. I thought the 2.1 Policy Volume 40, Number 2 is a first reading.
Mm-hmm.
So we shouldn't be approving it. This is
No.
just a reading.
No, Dr. Rock did
First
say.
reading. Sorry.
It's okay.
And it does say first reading.
But it says approved.
Right.
We're not
Which
voting.
is that Dr. Ruck?
I
No, I
We
just
just
asked
do the
Dr.
first
Ruck.
reading. We don't
Amy,
approve
he
it
said we
until the
don't.
second reading.
Correct.
I apologize for that. I added all of those in for all those items. That's normally my section.
Yeah.
Normally don't have non-voting section.
That's okay. So what I'm going to do is ask for a motion on the floor to approve by consent agenda 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6, and then we'll come back and discuss 2.1.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the consent agenda items 2.2 through 2.6.
Thank you. You have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So moved and properly seconded. Before we go forward, is there any additional discussion on any of the items that were not discussed during Doug's presentation?
I was hoping that Mr. Jolly or Mr. Chandler could give us some background on the early childhood center.
Jonathan, you come up and talk about the doors and the security system.
Yes, 2.2, the new security for the Early Childhood Center. That is for new exterior doors that will have door access control, intrusion, and alarm. The current doors that are in place are single pane. Homeland Security has a recommendation. Schools should not have single pane glass doors. They should have a minimum of double pane or triple pane, and a recommendation of 3M protective security film. Currently at the existing building, they do not have neither of those. They do not have intrusion. They do not have alarm on all the doors. So if we had a break-in, we would not know. So we are switching out all exterior doors and some interior doors and adding door access controls such as readers, intrusion that will let you know when a door is ajar, and alarm to be able to alarm the building.
And that's throughout
That's
the
why-
entire building? Okay.
Oh, that's why it's costing 249,000. How many doors are we talking about?
I think we have over, what is it, probably 17 doors over there. There's a lot of doors on that building.
So we got about 17 doors.
Yeah, it
We're
may
gonna
be a
have
little bit
security
more.
hooked up to each one of those.
Correct. So if someone ajars a door, breaks in the building, we'll be notified.
And this is in line with what we've got at the other buildings, right?
Yes, it is.
And this is all part of our construction budget.
Oh, okay.
And
So
it's
it falls
also,
within.
So it's budgeted, more or less.
and it's the same system that we use at our pre-K 5. We want to keep it consistent.
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
What was the other
John.
one, Mr. Jolly?
You can speak to the other ones too.
Okay, 2.3 is for the new high school, middle school. We have different surfaces. We no longer have the same floors as far as terrazzo flooring, different finishes that require different equipment. So the high school and middle school will receive 2 new machines, a stand up and a sit down to be able to clean the new LVT flooring. But they will also get new vacuums, new carts, new buckets, mop buckets, all custodial supplies for the new building.
And what's the name of this company?
This Sovereign.
What's their rating? They have a good rating?
We have used Sovereign for the last 6 years. We have switched from 3 companies in the previous years. We have not had any issues with Sovereign.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Before you know about the exchangers. 2.5 is the high school move. We hired a mover. We had invited 5 movers out, did a walkthrough of all the buildings. This company came in with the best price, and they're going to be moving our high school, middle school, and our elementary.
Oh, okay.
Any more questions?
No, sir, thank
Thank
Good
you so
job,
much, Jonathan. Hearing no other questions, Dr. Rock, can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Beard? Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes 5-0. If we can go back to section 2.1, please, Jonathan, to walk through the policy volume 40, number 2.
Yeah, this one, you want me to speak to it?
Please.
So we really didn't change any of these policies. They're not new in here. It's just standard.
Oh, okay.
We've done. We do have 2 other policy groups that we need to go through. That we'll get to at the next meeting. But like 1439 with holidays. And it's just talking about the holidays when people scheduled to work. Of course, we added Juneteenth to our calendar.
Okay.
Staff dress code. I mean, we don't really have a staff dress code. We just dress professional. For staff dress code.
So
About gender too. This was about gender.
I do have a question though. D, I was kind of confused. Dress in a manner that does not cause damage to district property.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of those things don't apply the way people dress in our district. So I'm not. I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious. That was interesting to me.
Mr. Johnson, is there any way possible I can get this in a larger print?
Oh yes, ma'am. We can get them bigger. I'll have Maddie do them larger.
Can you all read that?
It
I
was.
squint anyway.
I couldn't read.
It was hard. Please don't put it on pink paper.
Like this.
No, I still, even on the white paper, I still need to print a little.
Oh yeah, it needs to be larger, but don't print it on pink paper either.
Yeah. Well,
it was
I agree
hard.
with that too.
Madam Chair, I do have a question, and I know we pay for Neola. Dr. Rock, do we still have, or do you have conversations with Neola or Joe Sixth Street? Or?
Yeah, we do. I know I had a conversation with him about this
Okay.
policy. No, Maddie reached out to him.
I'm sorry, which policy was he referring to? What was, I'm sorry,
He just
Earl,
asked
I
about
didn't hear what you said.
Neola. He asked if we still conversate with Neola about.
Remember how you used to
Oh,
come in
yeah.
and get.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I spoke with Joe just last week.
So if there's any questions, he could probably break it down.
If weapons, this one just added incendiary devices, explosive, and things that's under state law. Just
Vaping too.
added those to it. Grant fund, this one to revise also. Just added some more state laws to it. Cost, all the cost principles spending federal funds with Dr. Rock. All those are some use of credit card. All these just revised with the latest state law on there. Nothing in particular, or been added that's anything, basically
While ago. Yes, we did.
I did have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On 6110.
6110.
It was under grant funds. It's letter A.
Mm-hmm.
I was just really surprised at some of the language that Neola is still using. Develop or distribute materials or operate programs or courses of instructions directed at youth that are designed to promote or encourage sexual activity, whether heterosexual or homosexual. Can they just say encourage any sexual activity, period?
We can change that.
Yeah, we can change that.
Do we have to call out?
Put the wording in there.
I have a just question. That's my question.
We can change it.
I see it.
Tweak it. I don't see why not. It's our policy.
Yeah, that's
our policy.
So is that's legal?
No, that might be a Donna question.
So
Was it
I see
highlighted
what
in
you're
red?
saying. So you do you ever look under policies and read the update, the update?
I didn't read it this time. No,
Yeah.
But normally I do read this time.
We can go to Donna, or if you want, I can check with Joe first, since they have their own legal team for stuff like this, to see what they think. It's entirely up to you guys whether we want to.
I was just curious, especially in 2023.
Well, I think it's a good question.
This is a good question. We might can change the language ourselves.
I fully understand that. I'm talking about the language in that particular item.
That's under A, you're saying, right? Under the very first one? What would
just encourage any sexual activity, period.
Not label it.
No labels, thank you.
Because the policy used to just have he, and then we had to go / her, but it always had he on all policies.
Oh, I thought he was laughing.
No, just he like a male. It
Gotcha,
never
I
had
gotcha.
/ or us.
So is there anything else in that you see you might want to
no, that was the question I had there.
Well, I can reach out to Neola if you guys like and see what they say. And then if we don't get a definitive answer, we can go to Donna.
Okay, thank you. Are you okay with that, Mr. Giles?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Anything in any of the other policies you want to call out?
None, no.
So I guess my question to the board is, if we get an answer on that one, and if you and your team agree to making that change,
We'll make the change.
when it comes back, then we can approve on the second reading.
Yes. And then just to give everyone an update, we still have 2 more sets coming down the pipe that we need to complete.
Oh,
So
okay.
we've got August and January of this year.
We should get them to you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll get the next volume. It'll be sent to us.
Sent to you.
Okay.
To your home.
That'll work. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to ask the board, we've got our board reports, which, we hit, the final board report. We've got our UVA COASBA, board updates for those of us that went to the conference. And then we go into board projects and paying attention to the time and understanding we had some very critical topics that needed to be shared with us tonight, specifically that elementary school issue. I want to ask the board, do we want to table any of these topics under section 3 and 4 and then move them to the next work session?
I'm good with that.
Okay, I'm good with that too.
The one thing that I will, I'm sorry. The one thing that I do want to do is if we can give an update on the final board.
You ready for that now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, so the final roar is coming into, we are almost 2 weeks away from the final war. I believe we sold 200 tickets. I'm not exactly sure what the exact profit is. So there's different funding mechanisms. You can pay for all weekend pass. You can pay for individual like dance passes or game passes. We have over 40 classes that have signed up for the class reunion picnic. We also have some food trucks this coming. Friday, the basketball game will be Friday. So basically, David and I will be, I guess, leading the charge. I will lead Thursday, which is Thursday is a walkthrough of the building. Then Friday's the basketball game. So those will be my 2 days. We have secured. They have enough players. They got some big name players like Judy and Swift and all those guys will play. Some of the older guys will play also against y'all. Also, that after the game, there will be the local bars in the community will be catering to different age groups. There's all bars that's owned by graduates of work, So you got Fredericks that'll be catering to or inviting our older graduates there. Then you got another place called Stackers that'll be inviting the younger people, and then you got Floods across the street that got a crowd that's coming to. That's coordinated by Mr. Dobbins, O.D. Dobbins is coordinating that. Then Saturday morning, we'll open the building up. The Deltas are going to take a picture in the building. They wanted to take one last picture in the gym because they've been, I think for years, been taking their group picture. So at 9 o'clock, they're going to take a picture from 9 to 10, but the building will be open the rest of the day. So we'll just have the building open until 1. And then we're going to contract with Maya Nettis. She's going to do the decorations for the dance and all of that. So Maya will do that. She'll have between 1 and 6. At 6 o'clock, the performances. So you got the alumni choir that's been practicing, got an alumni band that's been practicing, got all these. So they'll start performing at 6. And then the DJs will start at 7. So you'll have the older DJ will start at 7 in the gym, which is DJ Low Key. And then in the cafeteria will be won't start until 9, and that's for the younger people. On the alcohol issue, we will not bring the alcohol to the board. We will not serve alcohol at all during the final board.
Good.
It's just too much involved to try to get that done, so that will not come to the board at all. Understanding though people gonna try to drink there, but it won't be on us at all.
It won't be us.
They will
Right.
be drinking.
So that's no alcohol at the event. Or no sanction alcohol at the event.
Did our attorney come back and say, give a recommendation at all?
She didn't. She gave us the resolution, but she told us that we need to have a company with insurance. And we had the company didn't bring us any insurance or even to review the contract. So since the company did not bring us a contract, there was no review. No, we didn't even have to get her to review it to make a real recommendation. So if they didn't have the insurance, it was a no anyway. So I didn't get the insurance, so it's a no. Her recommendation was to get all the information from the company and then bring the information to her. She would have reviewed it and then made a recommendation based on that. But we didn't get the information because the company didn't have it. One company said they were already contracted, and then the other company did not provide me with the information. So I wouldn't bring it back. I didn't bring it back to the board. Then Sunday morning, the all class reunion. There'll be a DJ on the premises, a stage, because at different points in time they have teachers and alumni speakers and all type of things. I do see a lot of classes are getting excited. They're all getting T-shirts and tents and all of that. We've every class will get a table. Some classes requested 2 or 3. We did the math on it, and I think we can get like 90 different tables out there, 90 different groups out there. I don't think we're gonna have that many, but we do. We work with Warrensville Heights Police. So Warrensville Heights Police have said they're gonna support us the whole weekend, so they'll be at all the events. But Sunday in particular, we really need them because it's gonna be outside, and you got a lot of people across the street to just walk over and disrupt it. We don't think that's gonna happen, but just in case, the parking would be at the high school, and then the other parking would be at the early childhood center, and then people gonna park wherever they can. We're not gonna allow anyone to park in the parking lot. I think the back parking lot will have people setting up, would be in the park back there, and then VIP people who come get the park in the back. And then Monday would be the parade. So we're encouraging everybody to walk in the parade. So I think at the conclusion of this, what the Alumni Association wants this to be an annual all-class reunion, not with all the games and stuff, but just a picnic every year, Memorial Day weekend. I think that's what the goal is. And they've been trying to do it for years. But I think this is able to energize the alumni base to come back and really be part. You can see that with the choirs and bands. All the artistic people are really being involved in this final roar. So I'm open to any questions about the roar. Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned the parade. This is more so a question for the board. Do we want to get candy? Do we want to get T-shirts? I mean, do we want to load up on all that stuff this time?
I would say probably yes to the candy.
Yeah.
We're past COVID, but if we do the candy, we have to pack it ahead of time. And if we
Meaning like
Are you
little
pack it
bags
in little
or-
bags.
Wait, so you guys handing out any flyers here?
So
Since it's the election?
that's not for this conversation. That's
Yeah,
not
we
for
can't
the board
discuss
meeting. We
that.
can't
Yeah.
discuss that.
Yep.
After. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the candy in the little bags, because it's easier to give away versus just digging in and giving handfuls, and then some of us run out because we give so much.
We run out by Harvard.
Yeah, right at Harvard, we start running out of candy.
Yeah.
So that's
We don't
one
buy
thing.
enough.
The other thing is, are you asking for new board shirts or just have us get T-shirts? Like we could,
T-shirts or something. I mean, be uniform. Unless there's alumni shirts and you guys just want to wear alumni.
I was gonna wear my alumni shirt.
Okay. Well, then I'll just wear
I don't
an
know, but
athletic shirt or
We
something.
can make that decision, or we all have our board shirts. We can. I don't care.
I'll just
can't
get
find mine.
something from Where's,
I don't know.
Yeah,
where
we'll
it's
find
at.
some t-shirts.
We'll figure something
I
out.
wore the W's. You still got any more of the W's?
We got a million t-shirts around here. Savannah got a whole bunch of shit.
We'll figure something out.
I forgot an event. Thursday night, the city partnering with us to do a skating rink.
Yeah.
At the skating party in the gym.
where? A
in the-
skating party?
Roller skating.
Roller skating in the main gym.
Which Thursday?
Thursday,
For
the
top
25th.
Oh.
So the city of Warrensville has contracted with a company to bring a skating rink to the high school gym.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
So Warrensville, I mean that'll be a co-event with the city to so we have the building open. People will be walking around, and then we have roller skating.
Roller skating team.
I got my skate still.
Oh, I do not.
I
We have
do.
to have
I
our
still
own
skate.
skates?
No, I think they're gonna have skates, but I think it really is gonna be exciting. We just hope the weather holds up.
It's
We
going to
need the
hold
great
up.
weather for the weekend, and
Oh, you're involved.
Yeah, people are excited.
I do. Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, I got another update. So
Okay. Well,
I will.
so board, I know we talked about. Okay, we're still on our meeting. I know we talked about moving everything to the June work session, but I looked at my calendar real quick. We don't have a June work session. So I'll work with Mr. Jolly as we build the agenda for the May regular meeting and the June, because we only have one meeting in
We
June.
can do a June work session though, guys.
I'm just saying, we can either split the stuff between the two, or we make a decision to have a special meeting in June to do a June work session.
I'm all for the special meeting. This is the second.
Because this is a lot
Yeah.
that we've not been able to work on again, so I would like to be able to work on it. So if everybody is in agreement, we can do a June work session.
I'm good.
This one week I'm out. That's the week of June 12th to 16th.
And that would be if we did it would be that Tuesday, or we could do it. We look at June 7th. And for our work session, Mr. Jolly,
I don't know that they would need to be there.
I think you would be fine.
Yeah, I don't
Because
think
that's this time it's us doing our work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there on June 7th. If y'all have it.
So if we keep it on our regular second Wednesday of the month, that would be June 14th. So if everybody can please check their calendars and make sure it's okay.
I'm good.
Oh, I'm not. I have to look on my work calendar. I cannot do the 14th. I'm sorry. Could we do June 13th?
Yep, I'm good.
That's a Tuesday.
That's the Tuesday, yes, sir. Oh no, we can't because that's Warrensville's.
Because
that's their city council meeting.
But guys, I know we want to be there, but if the board has work to do, why? Oh, because we could have it at a different building. We don't have to have it here necessarily for a work session.
Yeah, you can have it at
Right?
the elementary school.
We can have it at the elementary school.
Yeah.
All right. So, Dr. Rocking, is everybody in agreement with the 13th?
I wouldn't be there. But,
I thought you said the 7th.
7 for the 13th. 7. I mean, but y'all would have fun without me. I scheduled vacations around the meeting. You know that we already had.
We can pick another day.
I'm sorry.
We can pick another day.
Yeah, I was going to ask if everybody can take a look at the 20th of June.
That's a bad day for me.
Okay.
What is that?
Is anybody open to the
Vacation
weekends at all, or you don't want to do your weekends? Okay.
We had a
I'm
still.
sorry. I have every weekend in June is booked.
I'll just let you guys tell me when then.
You said
I can't do
20th
June
of that.
20th.
Oh Lord.
I'm sorry. We have stuff at work in the evenings on Tuesdays. And I schedule them around my school board meetings. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do.
We'll come back to that.
Well, we can just come back.
We'll work together to find a date.
I mean, it's not an emergency, so you got July.
It's not an emergency, but it is important.
We just need to get
It
it
is
completed.
important. It is something that we need to do.
Okay, we're gonna stay in order. We will find another date. We may have to go into early July. We will see. There, so we will work together to find another date to continue. That will be items 3.2 through 4.3.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Jolly, did you have? I know you said you have another update.
Yeah.
And I have one too.
So the update I was gonna give is that the auction for the high school will start on May 16th. May 16th will start the auction for the high school. It'll end on May 29th. This summer's gonna be a lots of moving pieces. We'll be moving the high school. I believe May 20th. It'll start on May. They're gonna be there on May 19th.
Cool.
And they'll start helping packing and all of that. It's almost a 3-week move, 2-week move of the high school, which we thought was gonna be 2 days, but it's gonna end up being longer because of the amount of things. And also, we're gonna have to put some things into storage because the new high school is not gonna be ready for it, like the trophies and all those other things. We want to go to the storage. The middle school won't move until July, because the middle school part is not ready. So we'll have the middle school stuff packed up at the middle school. And then July 5th or 6th or something is one of them days. We'll move the middle school to the new school. On the stadium, right now they're in the process of laying the field out and putting up the visitors bleachers. So those are all in play at this time. And then the rec center. So the rec center, the front entrance will be closing. They're gonna put a new entrance on there. And as we said earlier, with the work traffic to the back, we want to keep the rec center open because if we don't have it open, then our kids will have nowhere to go in the summertime. Because without the high school and middle school online, that would just lead y'all to its own building. And we can have high school practice, and there's sports that go on all summer. The kids participate, so we gotta keep the rec open. And then we got our seniors that walk. So it's gonna be a busy time. Last day of school, May 23rd, for staff and students. For students. Teachers will continue to work. Graduation is May 23rd also. Middle school is in the daytime. High school is the night of the 23rd. 6:30, I believe.
Right.
In the gym.
Yeah, she sent us emails. She sent a text.
She sent it to everybody.
Yeah.
So those are the updates. The elementary school will have their final graduation, final event of students will be on Wednesday morning at the high school auditorium. Also.
Oh, okay.
So our students, senior prom is Friday at Cleveland Brown Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Friday, Cleveland Brown Stadium.
Are they doing
This Friday
the?
coming up?
This Friday. Are they doing the?
The lineup. They're doing the lineup at the early childhood center.
And that's prom.
And what? Oh,
I think that's like 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
And they got a listed plan about how they gonna block the parking lot.
They had the senior birthdays already, right?
They had it last week.
I missed it.
Okay. All right. We have one more announcement. I am excited to announce that the presentation that we put together to submit to OSBA for the Capitol Conference, we were approved. So we will be presenting. Our title is Warrensville Heights High School Warrensville Heights good grief. Warrensville Heights City Schools Board of Education's governance mindset leads to academic excellence. And we will be presenting that at the November OSBA Capitol Conference. So more to come. We will be getting, because that's the other thing we've got to start working on our deck. And so I do want to thank the team for agreeing to do this. We put a lot of work into working toward having and working from a governance mindset. We've seen the results of the work that we've done in everything that we've touched since we started that body of work. I want to thank Dr. Rock for the work that you've done with us on that, as well as Mr. Jolly. A special shout out to Mr. Jolly and his team, because after I wrote up the write-up to submit, I asked them to take a look at it because they have submitted numerous presentation requests, and they've been approved for everyone. So I knew that they knew what it took to get us past that final push, and it did it, and I thank you. So congratulations, board. I think we deserve a round of applause. All right, and if there are no other announcements or updates, I need someone to please make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Madam Chair, I move we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, ma'am. Second. The May 10th, 2023 work session board meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a good evening, and thank you guys.